If you want to know what the best social media platform is for your business, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the exact same information that I use to scale my business. I personally dove into social media platforms to understand the core fundamentals, the psychology, and the algorithms to really know what makes content successful. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything from A to Z when it comes to social media for businesses. By the end, you'll know which social media platform to focus on, the same one top businesses use to grow and generate sales. So let's jump in. So if you actually understand the social media business model, you can hack their business model and turn viewers into customers. So we actually have three main players. So player number one is literally people just like you and me that use social media platforms. This could be for entertainment purposes, to learn more info, to be social and connect with grandma. Anyone that uses social media platforms is in player number one category. So now that brings us to the second player, which is social media platform owners. So when it comes to social media platform owners, these are the businesses that actually own the social media platforms themselves. Think of businesses like Google, which owns YouTube, or Meta, that owns Facebook and Instagram. And the third player are businesses that want to advertise. These are businesses that could be as small as the local puppy shop to anything such as big giants like Walmart. So here's how the entire system works with these players in mind. So social media companies give people a social platform for people to post videos, make new connections, or consume content. This in turn generates attention, whether it's from a funny cat video your friend sent you, or that follow request from the old hometown friend. It all generates attention, which is quite literally people using the app. So what social media companies actually do with this attention generated, they take a small part of it and sell it to businesses for money. So once the company buys this attention, they actually use the attention to push out their messages to people. And we call this paid ads. So in the end, it quite literally is attention in exchange for money. So the key takeaway is social media companies provide people a platform to be social on, share media, social media, and doing so, this generates attention. They take a small portion of that attention and sell it to businesses so they can market their ads. Doing so, the companies that advertise make their money, the social media company themselves also make money, and the user gets to use a social media app for whatever purpose they deem. Now here's the thing, because a social media business, their main goal is to maximize profit because they're in the game of business. The more attention a social media platform can get, the more money they can make. That's why social media companies create something called algorithms. And these are built with the purpose of getting people to stay on the app as long as possible. Because the longer people stay on apps, the more ads they can see, and therefore the companies that own these social media platforms can make the most money. Now, content has things called metrics. These are things like likes, comments, shares, rewatches. These are essentially metrics that track how much a piece of content is good at capturing people's attention. And when they have high metrics, they're shown to more people. And if these people give more attention to this piece of content, it improves the content being shown to even more people. And this slowly creates a flywheel effect and eventually leads to the content becoming viral. So at the end of the day, every social media platform is designed for one purpose: to keep your attention. Now here's where it actually gets interesting. There's actually two ways a company can make money from social media. The first method is the one that we went through. It's through paid ads. And again, paid ads are quite literally companies that own social media platforms taking some of the attention, selling it to companies so they can run their ads. In turn, both companies make a profit. However, there's actually a second way you can use social media platforms to make money, and it's usually the one that people want to do the most. It's posting content. So going back, remember, posting content on social media platforms creates attention. Now the thing is, you can actually use this attention to monetize your audience. So with the attention you get from people, you can use conversion mechanisms and then make money through that way. So in doing so, you actually cut out the middleman, which is social media company owners that sell you the attention, and you monetize the attention that you created yourself based on the content that you made, rather than the attention that other people made through their content. Whenever people talk about making money on social media, they almost always refer to this, content. The key is here that you need to learn how to create content that gathers the most attention, especially considering your ideal prospects. Because remember, attention from 1 million people that won't buy your service service or product doesn't matter compared to the attention of 300 people that actually would. And by the way, content is a lot more efficient than paid ads, because whenever you post a piece of content, it lasts forever. The second you stop paying for paid ads, they completely stop forever. When you master organic content, you can keep generating sales without spending a dollar, because content is free to post and it compounds over time. So now the goal is for you to post great content that gets attention. You need to learn the algorithms that keeps the attention off of these social media apps in the first place. Because once you know that, you can create content that works with the algorithm instead of against it, and get in front of the eyes of potential prospects that would buy your service or product. If you create content that keeps attention, you're essentially getting for free what others pay thousands for. And remember the content flywheel effect. The better your content aligns with social media platforms' attention mechanics, the more visibility it'll have and the more money you make. So the key takeaway is money follows attention. Attention quite literally is money on these apps. Even in a business standpoint, we know that attention equals money. And attention can be bought or earned. The creators and businesses that win long-term are the ones that post content, because long-term strategy-wise, it's the best way and the most efficient way to get more sales for your product or service. Attention compounds, builds authority, and converts for free, while paid ads is quite literally temporary traffic. So if you master attention on these apps posting content, you'll never have to pay for it again, and you'll make as much money as you want. So now we're actually going to break down how each social media app keeps attention through their algorithms. Now before that, we actually need to know a few things about how social media keeps attention in the first place. So in social media, there's actually two aspects of what generates attention. There's the social side of social media, which is interacting with people on messages, liking people's posts, or following people on these apps. Essentially interacting with other people. There's the media side, which really is the consumption of media. And this could be from watching a video, seeing a picture, or anything to do that is not social, but really contains media, which is just a message contained within a medium that's shown to other people. Now, with the introduction of TikTok, people have found that the media side dominates at getting attention with its short form way of getting people's attention. So what that means is apps have considered the media side over the social side, meaning the social side is really becoming obsolete, because if you really do think about it, when it comes to media consumption, it has become social. When's the last time you updated your status on Instagram that got someone's attention? Based when you sent them a reel that got their attention. So social aspects have integrated with the media aspect. Social interactions are more along the lines of media interactions. So all in all, platforms look at media the most when it comes to getting attention and really favoring you and the algorithm. Also, another note, it's important to mention that every single social media platform is viable for business growth. However, most of your consumer base that actually want to buy your product or service in the first place are scattered usually among 2 to 3 different social media platforms. And that's why it's critical to understand how they keep people's attention, because once you know that, you can identify exactly where your audience lives and then use the social media platform algorithm to help you and your business grow. So there's 6 social media platforms in this day and age in 2025. There's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X/Twitter. Let's break down how each one works and what drives attention in each platform. Doing so, we can understand which businesses perform best on which platform. So Instagram and TikTok. Both Instagram and TikTok run on a short form video content. Content that grabs attention in the first 3 seconds, otherwise known as a hook. So Instagram and TikTok run primarily on watch time, rewatches, and comments. And I missed another one, it's also shares. Now the biggest thing that really we need to know about this is that it's extremely short form. When it comes to watching a reel, you're not dedicating more than 60 seconds to watching something. When it comes to rewatches, it's the same thing. You're only putting 60 seconds in. When it comes to commenting, you're not leaving a big comment unless you're extremely mad. The content that wins is extremely emotional due to the short form nature of the content itself. It's all about triggering the emotions for the next dopamine hit. Meaning content that's funny, shocking, sad, anything like that, that will go viral, and that's what thrives on these apps. Now, emotions that evict action over a short period are called impulses. Businesses that sell on impulses would thrive on Instagram and TikTok. The businesses that would thrive in this would be something like a clothing brand, a fitness accessory, skincare routines, car products, basically anything that evokes emotion and gets people to buy within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And with in-app purchases, meaning you don't even need to leave the app to purchase something, this only means that the impulse-driven marketing and buying habits in this app are becoming even more shorter and shorter. So if you're a direct-to-consumer brand, Instagram and TikTok are gold. If you sell something that literally only takes 5 to 10 minutes to purchase and go through the entire customer journey, then Instagram and TikTok are gold. You want to sell based on emotional impulses. Now, Facebook is the next platform we're going to talk about. And in 2025, Facebook is actually very, very interesting as a social media platform. So Facebook runs on what I call the mixed attention economy. It's probably the most skewed social platform when it comes to any of these social platforms, meaning they actually do take a significant amount of attention on the social side. But again, the media side is an extremely important factor. The algorithm prioritizes meaningful interaction such as comments, shares, and group engagement. So instead of like viral dopamine hits like TikTok and Instagram, Facebook really takes attention to the connection side and aspect of marketing. People use Facebook to join groups around common interests, hobbies, or local communities. They have a group system that other social media platforms lack. And that's where Facebook actually shines, building trust within a community with long-term conversations. And because on Facebook, it's not so short form, people actually stay and watch content that goes up to 5 to 30 minutes long. It's great for brands that need to explain what they do and build credibility. So the businesses that do the best are local services, real estate agents, home improvement, fitness studios, and coaches. Essentially anything where your niche is extremely small, particularly to a city. Because Facebook can target people really, really well with the group system, you can really talk to individuals on a one-on-one basis, almost like a sales call. The more personable a message is, the more it can get them to buy our service or product. We can go all the way from cold email, which is really just a random person emailing you, to literally a one-on-one conversation about someone's goal, which is a sales call. Which one would sell someone more on your product or service? Because of the group system, Facebook can actually do this. That's why local businesses or businesses with a very small niche do very good on Facebook. So the next social media platform we have is YouTube. YouTube is a very, very special case when it comes to marketing your business. So because YouTube is owned by Google, the most utilized search engine in the world, YouTube naturally is the second most utilized search engine in the world. So with that being said, if you can really target people on their searches, you can essentially put your video in front of people that have interest in a search. No other social media platform actually has this ability. So here's an example of how YouTube can work with a search-based algorithm. So let's say someone has an issue with their business and they need to solve it, and they search up a solution to this issue on Google. Well, when they search up that solution on Google, naturally there's going to be YouTube videos that rank because YouTube and Google are owned by the same company. So once that person watches that video and sees actionable content that they can take, that's value-based, you got their attention based on just a random search that they had. And no other social media platform, again, can do this. You can't search up on Instagram problems to a solution. You can't go on LinkedIn and search up problems to a solution. But whenever you want to search something, you can search it up and YouTube can actually rank that if you do it right, which is a big thing. Take a look at this video. This video is helping people with what social media they want to use for their business. Because of that, when someone searches up on Google on what that could be, they find this video. And then this video gets their attention. On YouTube, the algorithm rewards watch time, click-through rate, and session duration, essentially how long a person watches a video. So because of that, long-form content performs really well on YouTube, which is content that lasts from 8 to more than 8 minutes long. This type of content can go even up to 24 hours. And the best part is, YouTube videos are evergreen, meaning they last forever and can be found essentially forever if done right. Because of this, they can generate you business 10 years down the line. Since the only way to find Instagram or TikTok content is usually after finding someone's social media account and find the content on their account, YouTube actually outlasts all of them due to its search-based nature on being found on the search engine of YouTube and Google. YouTube is usually perfect for high-ticket services, coaches and consultants, Agencies and info-based businesses, because these businesses need a lot of trust, and since long-form content gives you the ability to deliver value and deliver trust, this is why it would be perfect for these businesses. Also, YouTube is what our agency actually works with. In fact, if you're a high-ticket business that wants to scale using YouTube, we can actually help you with that. We'll work with you on a pay-on-results basis. All you essentially need to do is record yourself for less than 5 hours per month. And my team will take care of literally everything from the SEO to the thumbnail design to all the editing, script writing, and in between. If that sounds interesting to you, please click the first link in the description. So the next social media platform is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about credibility and professional storytelling. Its algorithm rewards authentic, story-based posts, and this is due to the nature of the personalization of accounts. People can quite literally take a peek of your entire history with LinkedIn. So if you really want to sell to people on this, you want to sell yourself as an individual to these people. You want to tell them stories that really they can relate to, that eventually can show how much you can help them. So the key metric for this is engagement velocity. It's essentially how quickly people react and comment after you post. Now, since your LinkedIn account is quite literally you as a person and your entire history, relating with stories is the best way to do so. To get people to really react and get people's attention, you want to relate to them as much as they can relate to you. Things that really work are personal insights, lessons learned, or behind the scenes stories about what you do. You want people to think, yeah, I've been here too. So because of that, LinkedIn is best for companies that are B2B services, consultants, SaaS founders, agencies, and coaches. Basically anything where you can represent your character and your professional history. Also, LinkedIn probably has the most amount of professionals than any other social media platform. So the last social media platform we're going to be talking about is X/Twitter. Now, X is quite different from other social media platforms in relation to the way it uses current events. Now, X thrives on real-time conversations, current events that trigger emotion. For instance, let's say a piece of legislation was passed on that stops a certain business from working the way they used to. If you can have a personal insight onto that on Twitter, then you can really reap in benefits by delivering value to people. When modern events happen, tweets happen right after them. So if someone's searching up the news on what's happening with this legislation that affects their business, they'll find tweets about the news. And then if you're a business owner that's giving a solution to this real-time event that's really impacting businesses, they're going to watch that and they're going to essentially know your name from now on, and then you can sell to them doing so. Now, I wouldn't say Twitter is the best platform for selling people directly. It's really a lubricant. It really helps people get to know you and your business, but down the line, other social media platforms are always going to be performing better in converting people. The algorithm rewards frequency, meaning the amount of times you tweet, replies, meaning how many times you reply to certain events, and timeliness, which is the biggest one. Basically, the faster you can get a tweet out, the more benefits you can reap. And that's essentially because emotions are tied to current events. Emotions get attention, and then you can use that attention for yourself and your business. All in all, X is best for quick takes. Because of that and its proximity to current events and the decision making that's made based off of these events and the information that's available at the time, the best businesses are usually tech, crypto, finance, media, and especially politics, which is huge. So a great example, let's say someone's making an update in their campaign. Well, that's going to attract news, and then you can sell off that. Let's say in crypto, there's been a huge value hike in a certain coin. Well, you can tweet about that coin, and people will follow. Now, another thing about X, well, these are technically aspects of businesses and business models. You want to individualize yourself within these businesses so that people actually come and read your tweets as the account. So it's best for people that are founders of companies or companies themselves and your hot takes on current events. If your business thrives on conversation and relevance, especially to events that are very sporadic in nature, then this is your platform. So now going through every single platform, you now have a list of what businesses are best for which social media platform. Now I'm actually going to give you actionable content that you can take to determine which social media platform would be the best for your business. So again, you can use all 6 social media platforms, but that's essentially casting 6 big nets on 6 big oceans. So let's say you have a clothing brand and all your customers are impulse-based. Well, they're not going to be on Facebook or LinkedIn. They're going to be on Instagram and TikTok. So essentially, depending on your customer base, almost all the time they're scattered on 2 or 3 social media platforms. So instead of burning resources on 6 different social media platforms, the fish, your customers, are usually going to be on 2 or 3. So key takeaway, make sure you know your customers and you could save yourself the biggest headache of time and resource management when it comes to content creation. So the first measure of where your potential prospects are on social media platforms is the value of your product or service. Because how much something costs changes the way people buy it. So question 1 is, what is your price point? So put it simply, if your product's under $100, you should use Instagram or TikTok. Now the reason is, purchases usually under $100 are impulse driven. And again, people buy fast on Instagram and TikTok. So a great example of something worth under $100 that you would market on Instagram and TikTok is clothing. Fast fashion apps almost all the time use TikTok. Once people buy with the less than $100, that impulse is gone. So the best social media platform if you sell between $100 and $1,000 is Facebook. Now Facebook really is a medium between Instagram and TikTok and YouTube because it catches the medium amount of attention. YouTube videos can get people's attention for 30 to 60 minutes, Instagram for 30 seconds, but Facebook 5 to 10 minutes. So naturally, with the amount of attention you can reap, the more you could charge in a mid-ticket service. And the third one, if you sell more than $1,000, it's almost always going to be YouTube and LinkedIn. Now, put it quite simply, if someone's spending over $1,000, there's a lot more to risk than spending $30. So with that being said, you need a lot of credibility and authority to sell that product or service to make sure someone's not getting scammed because they, again, have a lot to lose. YouTube and LinkedIn do well. YouTube in the aspect that you can show people very long videos that deliver trust and authority, and LinkedIn because it can quite literally show people's entire lives. Now, Twitter can benefit in all 3 of these aspects. Again, Twitter is really something that works in proximity to the relevance it has to a current event. So the second question is, how much trust does your customer need before buying your product or service? So if it's a quick emotional purchase, you usually don't need that much trust. You just want to know if it actually exists or not. You usually want to use TikTok or Instagram. With impulse-driven purchases, again, it's based on impulse. You don't really need that much trust. For example, buying clothing online, you just need to see that they really just have a website and just people wearing the clothes. Again, TikTok and Instagram are built for fast decisions. Now, if your audience needs a bit more context into the service or product, then you should go with Facebook. Because again, Facebook hits that middle ground of speed and credibility. A great example of this is, let's go back to clothes. Let's say the clothing now is worth $600 rather than $20. Well, on Facebook, if you have a post about, let's say, where the clothes is manufactured, how it's made, well, that can really help people purchase your products. For example, one of my e-commerce companies is a clothing brand, and we actually had this one product that was worth $400. Here's the thing, when people see a $400 product, they want to know what makes it $400. So we made a Facebook post that actually shows what it's made out of, who makes it, and the sales skyrocketed after that post got engagement. So essentially every single time someone initially saw our product, we just funneled them towards that post, and then they had the trust and credibility to purchase. Now, if your customers really need to understand you or your product or service, then the best thing to do is go to, again, YouTube and LinkedIn. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to high ticket, I call it high trust, because you need a lot of trust in that someone else is going to deliver what they say. For instance, in high ticket services, case study and track record go miles because it establishes trust in that you're actually going to deliver your promises. YouTube is amazing for that because, again, due to the long form content, you can actually post case studies, which is examples of people that have used your product or service and have gotten the results that you promised to them. And LinkedIn is better because, again, it's a view into your past as a human character, so they could see and really trust you. And now again, X does kind of tie it in all together. If you do have good takes on current events, people are going to trust you more, and people are going to be much more open to buy what you sell. Granted, the information is relevant and useful. So question 3 is, who are you selling to? If you're selling to everyday consumers, you want to go with TikTok and Instagram. You can't really target people with your content as much as on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. You really need to broaden your reach. And because of that, you can't really niche down as much, meaning everyday consumers are really going to be who you're selling to. Because again, the opposite of niching down is selling broad, and broad is correlated with everyday consumers. It's the majority. Now, if you're selling to small businesses or local clients, you want to go Facebook or YouTube. So again, if it's local clientele, almost always Facebook is going to be the king at that. And that's because the group aspect of it and the social side of it, you can really connect to people on an individual level. Now, YouTube is always good for that because, again, small businesses kind of act like consumers, but are a bit more niche down, meaning there's a smaller amount of them. So doing so, you can actually use search-based content on YouTube and really target small businesses. So you want to think about maybe a small business has a problem with their ERP software. You can make a YouTube video helping them with that problem, and then in doing so, sell them on your services of ERP. And third, if you're selling to professionals and other companies, this is kind of a no-brainer, but LinkedIn and even YouTube are going to be your best bets. So again, LinkedIn is the platform that's most used by professionals. YouTube is just really good at getting people's attention more than any other app and niching down. So naturally, both of them are going to be really good at targeting these people, professionals and companies, which again are probably the hardest people to target. And with this, X also is good for selling your personal brand. It does go without saying that YouTube actually is really good for everyday consumers because, again, everyone uses YouTube. Consumers are a big part of that. Let's say you want to sell to coaching clients, YouTube can really help with that. We can see this by channels such as Alex Hormozi targeting small businesses, or Mr. Beast selling his Feastables to everyday consumers. So the fourth question is, what kind of actual results do you want from your content? If you want fast attention, without a doubt, TikTok and Instagram. So an example of this is like a trend. Let's say fast fashion based on a current event. So let's say Taylor Swift's new album came out and I want a shirt that has her album cover on it. Well, TikTok and Instagram would be great for that because it solves someone's needs that's very short term. It gets the fast attention from them. If you want the middle ground of reach and trust, then Facebook is the best way to do so. Again, Facebook really is 5 minutes in content length rather than the short form aspect of Instagram and TikTok. And if you want authority, such as being the king of your niche or long-term inbound leads, you want to go to YouTube and LinkedIn, probably the most long-term apps in play. And because LinkedIn is quite literally a window into your past, which can really go far in a long-term way. And YouTube, again, without a doubt, is the most long-term social media platform for your business. The videos can actually be found after they're posted and can provide value forever. Again, when's the last time you saw a post on Instagram, TikTok, or even LinkedIn from 10 years ago, versus when you saw a video on YouTube from 10 years ago? So the key takeaway is, if you're going to use TikTok and Instagram to post content, it's the fast attention zone. You essentially want quick visibility, fast traffic, and emotional impulsive buys. And usually, those are things that fall under $100, do not require that much trust, and is usually for people that are everyday consumers. Now, if you use Facebook, you're in the trust and community zone. So the trust and community zone is a mix of medium attention and really niching down for local businesses. So if you're a local business or maybe selling a mid-ticket offer, then Facebook would be amazing for you. It's really something that lets you personalize and be social with people. Now, if you're going to be posting on YouTube and LinkedIn, you're going to be thinking for the long term because, again, they do take a while to make because they deliver the most value over a long period of time. It's content that builds trust and builds revenue like no other content can. And now X in all this is in a special case, but I would say X is more of a business amplifier. It won't really bring in clients directly through the content, but it can really help you connect with people. It boosts your credibility and drives clicks, and really helps you connect with high-value businesses who really open doors for your business. And again, if you're a high-ticket business that does want to grow on YouTube, then we can definitely help you with that. If working with us on a pay-on-results basis sounds interesting to you, then please click the first link in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for watching.